at you. Good Tuesday, everybody. Welcome once again to BTL Bass Talk Live, where we're going to talk bass fishing and anything else that we want to talk about. Matthew, how you doing, man?
I'm good. That anything else right off the hopper involves pecans and handmade crankbaits.
Yeah, we got a few things in the mail yesterday.
What do you want to start with?
The crankbaits are looking really good.
All right. Got a message from Brad Whitaker. That is a... Oh, cool. It says Whitaker on the bottom of it. So we each got a ham. He said, hey, I make crankbaits. I would have said you a couple. Now, there is a...
Yeah.
When is the last time, Mark, that you received a handwritten letter on just a 8.5 by 11 piece of paper? I was thinking about that.
Bob Cobb, maybe?
Yeah, that would have been it
Yeah.
when he signed that book right
Yeah.
there, 50 years. Do you want me
Yeah.
to read it? I have not read this, so who knows what it says.
Okay.
Just says he's a fan of the show. Don't get a chance to listen live, but I keep up with the replays, and I don't mind the bowling talk. LOL. I used to be a 3-night-a-week league bowler.
Really?
Before my wife and I started Witty Outdoors. It's WHITTY. I assume it's Witty, not Whitey. That's T-T-Y,
Yeah.
Witty Outdoors.
I think.
Anyway, I love the show, and it's great to get the business and angler's perspective on things. Let me know what you think about the lures, good and bad. I am always looking to improve things. We have a wake bait. It works with this same body, and we are almost done with the flat side crankbait, too.
Uh-oh.
Thank you, Brad Whitaker, Witty Outdoors.
Now, what's funny is we picked the same color.
Yeah, so he said, hey, pick one. He said, hey, I know Mark is a topwater guy, but
Yeah.
if he wants a crankbait. So, Mark, you have an extensive collection of crankbaits, too.
Yeah.
I always give you a tough time, but, I mean, you are
Yeah.
a versatile angler.
Yeah. These look really good.
It's called a BTB, better than balsa, composite material similar to the density of balsa wood, but much more durable. Now, I haven't thrown it. I haven't used it at all. We literally just got them, but
Yeah.
there you go. Comes with
Pretty
the,
cool.
Triple grips, and it looks awesome, so...
Very nice.
That right there will be in the tackle box. Now, we also got some E2 Edwin Evers pecans.
Flavored pecans.
Flavored pecans.
What flavor? I haven't even looked at them, man.
Now, this is the big pack, and we didn't ask for any of this
No.
stuff.
No.
Edwin Evers, these are just straight up pecans, just a big satchel of pecans. But
right.
then we also got the creme brulee pecans.
Uh-oh. Are
And
you a
the-
creme brulee? I can't even say it.
How do you say it?
Creme brulee?
No, yeah, say it all at once.
Creme? I can't.
Say it all at once. The show's not going on until this gets spit out in a smooth order.
Creme? Man. I don't know why I can't say it.
Take a drink of your sparkling, flavorless water.
Yeah, I like creme brulee. Was that close?
I'll let you pass, but that was pretty rough.
It was pretty weak.
So we also have jalapeno pecans.
Wow, you can have those, dude.
I'll
I'm
try-
not much into the
the
spice.
Creme brulee.
Those are really good.
I'm assuming we could open these. These weren't going to be re-gifted as a
No.
viewer giveaway, were they, Mark? We know your past history.
No,
with how you
no.
like to
Not part of the stuff over in the corner.
give away things. You might be in a bet with someone for some pecans for a Vixen.
They want to see the crankbait in the camera. I don't know if I can. No. Let me see if I can take it
Here,
out.
they've got a good Instagram page here. It says right here, you can go to their, after the show, you can go to their Facebook and
Let's see. Maybe a little bit there.
you can go. It just goes, wittyoutdoors.com. WHITTY, outdoors.com.
It's got the, what do you call that? The circuit board.
Yeah, it's got a circuit board lip, but then it's also the composite material. So I'm excited to give it a try. Water temps are right there. I caught them Saturday on a handmade bait. All right.
Very nice. All right. Did
What
you
flavor
sample
are we
one?
trying?
Creme brulee.
Oh, perfect. Grab you one.
All right. What do
Got
we
a little bit
here?
of kind of white frosting on the outside. These are big full pecans.
That's pretty good.
Oh my gosh.
That's really good. Really, really good. Don't light them on fire, though, okay?
Wow.
Yeah, you could eat that whole bag on the way back to Tulsa.
I probably will.
You can have that, man.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll give you the big bag of pecans.
Yeah, we'll
It's
share
not
that
flavor.
with the family.
You don't need that extra sugar.
No.
I mean, I live
That's
on
really, really, really good.
breakfast burritos and peach Red Bulls, so...
There you have it. All right, folks, great show today. We have Mr. Larry Nixon on here in about 10 minutes, and really excited about having him on and talking a little bit about the vintage days of bass fishing.
I was wondering, what are we going to talk to him about?
Yeah, a lot of...
Are we going to go Zell rolling like old school? Or are we going to talk about
We're going to talk
future,
both because I really want to know his thoughts on the game today. Obviously, I want to discuss the intro on the Bassmasters television show.
Right.
You know, the
I bet he remembers that.
6-7 pounder.
You have to remember
whatever.
that.
Yeah. I know he's really in hunting mode right now.
6'10",
He
I
may
believe.
even be taking the call from his tree stand. He said he had good cell service. He said, I'm just going to shut the door and probably just talk to you guys while I'm in the tree stand.
Oh, it's one of the fancy blinds.
Yeah.
Said I didn't know if he'd be like soaked in doe urine, clinging to a tree, trying to do an interview.
No, not the case. Not the case. But some interesting stats, and I don't know how many people realize this, but he's at over $3.5 million in earnings on both tours, 25 classics. He won, I think, what was it, 1983, 83, I think.
He won a lot. He's won.
No, the Bassmaster Classic.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was 83, and it was on the. I think it was on the Ohio River.
Were you following the sport then?
Little bit, not
That
much.
was Clun. We're looking it up right now.
Yeah, look at it.
on the
I think I'm
world's
dead on,
slowest
though.
Computer.
I could be wrong. Could be wrong.
Holy cow! His bass photos and that T. Beverrood with the turtle. He's got the turtleneck with the T.
Nice.
Beverrood embroidered jersey.
Yeah. No vest. Am I right?
B Branch, Arkansas. That's a heck of a name for a town.
It's a pretty cool name.
B Branch.
Yeah.
He won the 1983 Bassmaster Classic on the Ohio River.
Thank you.
Lord, Jeffrey.
Yes.
Just channeled your inner Ken Duke.
Yeah.
Now, if you can tell me how much weight he won with,
I don't remember.
it just, you've got a chance. Now think, Ohio River, Cincinnati, Ohio.
Yeah. 28 pounds.
Oh, you got one number right in that.
38 pounds?
No, other way.
Really? 21 pounds.
That's the wrong number
Wrong
that
number?
you got right.
48 pounds?
No.
What?
It was 18 pounds, Mark. Good Lord.
I'm all over the place.
48 pounds on the Ohio River?
Well, I didn't know. I mean, geez.
Freaking Bill
I know it's
Lowen will be
brutal.
calling him up after the show going, hey, I need those 1983 holes there, Larry. That 16 pound a day average looking real strong
dude,
right now.
I pulled that one.
So that
out
would
of
have
the
been
bowels of
3
my
days,
memory.
right?
18 pounds, 6 pounds a day.
Yeah. So
Oh, we're going to have to talk about that.
would that have 6 pounds? Yeah, if it was 3 days, that'd have been 6 pounds a day.
Yeah.
That was the year after Elias won Nealon and Reeling.
Yes.
Elias won the 82.
Yeah. But how much did it take for Van Dam to win at Pittsburgh?
I want to say 13.
That was the lowest
13
one,
or
right?
15. It might have been 15.
It was the lowest one, correct?
I don't have that. How much you think the Classic paid in 83? 93, 03, 13. 36 years ago.
25,000.
40 grand.
That was good money in 83. Really good money.
Really good.
Yeah. Huh. Very interesting. So yeah, I want to pick his brain about that, but over 3.5 million earnings. He's got over 10, 12, 13 wins over on the bass side. I don't know how many. Are you looking it up?
Yeah. I think he has 5 wins on FLW, maybe more. He's been doing it for 20 years. Yeah,
I do know he won
14 wins on the bass
Okay,
side.
I do know he won twice on the FLW side on St. Clair.
I believe they're going to St. Clair this
Yeah.
year.
So I want to talk to him a little bit about that, why he gets so dialed in at St. Clair fishing for smallmouth. I wonder if anybody's ever won a tournament on St. Clair fishing for largemouth.
It can be done. It can be done.
Happened?
I don't know about a major tournament that's ever been won. Yeah, he's won 4 over at FLW.
Let's see here. I'm going through the instant feedback real quick. I'm sorry. It was at Cincinnati.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you about my year I lived in Cincinnati?
No.
I played for the Cobras. They were 1-47 the previous year.
Yeah.
So I made the team.
Good for you, man.
CSHL.
Very nice.
Junior hockey. And I was taking online courses.
Okay.
So I had to
for
go.
For high school, right?
No, for college.
Oh, for
I was
college.
19 years old.
Okay. I'm sorry.
And I lived with the host family in their basement.
Yeah.
Guy owned a bunch of Penn Station sub shops.
Really?
Yeah. Great dude. Name was John and his family and stuff. The Doyles. First time away from home for me. So
wow.
I'm taking these online courses, but in order to pass the course, you have to take the final at an approved location. So you don't have a couple.
What would that be?
A couple of geniuses sitting next to you taking it. So it was the public library. So I had to go down to the Cincinnati Public Library.
Yeah.
Well, if you followed the show, my sense of direction is less than stellar when it comes to pavement. I'm good on the lake. GPS could go out on the lake, I'd be fine. I have a sixth sense out there.
You got lost.
And I ended up in an area called Over the Rhine.
Not good?
Called the host dad and I said, hey, I'm lost.
You need to get out of there.
He said, where are you? I said, I named the streets and he was quiet and he said, okay, there's a bunch of stop signs on all those streets. He said, do not stop. He said the best thing that could happen is that a cop pulls you over for running the stop sign and then he will help you out of the area. He said, do not stop.
Little rough.
Make 2 left turns when you can, and under no circumstances let your foot off the gas until you are back to the river.
A little rough. Very rough.
That's my story in Cincinnati.
Wow. 1-7, right?
But there's also some great places out there. That's just one little exciting story.
All right, let's do this. Let's take a break, come back, and we're going to talk to one of the greatest anglers in the history of the game, an icon of the sport of bass fishing.
Would you like another?
No, I'm good, man.
What are they?
Creme brulee. I was close.
I'm going to eat like 7 during the break.
You better save that bag for the ride back to Tulsa.
Oh, I'm going crappie fishing after this.
Here?
Yeah, with Jared Miller.
At Thunderbird?
Yeah, so Jared Miller catches a bunch of crappie. He's been trying to get one of those technical fleece reapers from AFCO, like with the turtleneck thing.
Yeah.
They're sold out on the website.
Yeah.
I got an extra one. I said, dude, you put me on the crappie, I provide you with warmth. So I've traded a reaper for a crappie trip.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, before we go to break, there is a mention on the instant feedback. I'm really shocked that we didn't hear any more feedback than we did on what I believe is a big story of Scott Canterbury not having a title sponsor yet. Very little feedback on that. I think it's a huge story.
Yeah, he's an Angler of the Year.
Yeah. No title sponsor.
I was talking with someone else. Did that happen to Polinick after he won Angler of the Year with Rigid?
Might have. All right, taking a break. Come back with Larry Nixon. Everybody stay tuned.
You are serious about catching fish. That HDS is a dead giveaway. You've got the best fish finding sonar money can buy. Time to build the ultimate fish finding system with live sight sonar. See what your lure is doing in real time. Watch fish strike as it happens. See for yourself. Take the Live Sight Sonar 30-day challenge. If Live Sight Sonar doesn't help you find and catch more fish, send it back, no questions asked.
All of us on the Pro Tournament Trail use Gamakatsu hooks.
Why?
Because they are absolutely the best.
It's not about how many bites you get.
It's how many you put in the boat.
Gamakatsu makes hooks for every fishing style.
We didn't come this far to lose fish.
Did you?
For more information, visit gamakatsu.com.
We've paired one of the most iconic hulls in the history of bass boats with a proven lineup of trusted accessories. We're bringing you best-in-class value and performance, leaving others in your wake. Turnkey value, turnkey performance. The Pantera 2 is an overachiever in the 19-foot category. Once you hit the throttle, you'll feel the rush, and there's no looking back.
I want to share to you a new product we got coming out from Sunline. This is the FC liter size spools that we have now. We've gotten a lot of requests for this. A lot of you guys use fluorocarbon for liters only, myself included. And one of the problems you have is when you have a 200-yard spool, that might last you 2, 3, 4 years. You might even lose it before you even get done with the spool. So we've gone to a little smaller spool. These are 50-yard spool sizes. You know, that way you're not holding your line on forever. You can keep your line fresh, use it when you can, stores real easily in the boat. We got all of our popular line sizes that you're used to with our Sniper from 5 to 14 pound. If you guys are looking for a line that you're only tying for a liter, go check out Sunline FC Liter 100% fluorocarbon and give it a try.
Blue Water by TH Marine. Offering LED lighting solutions for your boat, trailer, truck, ATV, and so much more. Engineered and built to be rugged with waterproof and submersible options. Designed for easy installation, Blue Water is available in a variety of colors and styles. All backed by a limited lifetime warranty. Blue Water by TH Marine.
The name SPRO says it all. SPRO stands for Sports Professionals. When you look at the pro staff that SPRO has brought on board over the past 15 years, it's been pretty incredible. I mean, one got it just then. From the development of the rock crawler to the McStick, from the Fat Papa to the Little John series, when you tie a SPRO bait on, you know it's been designed by a professional to get the job done.
At Duckett Fishing, we have assembled the top pros in the country to help us design rods to give you a competitive advantage. Castability, strength, durability, action, sensitivity, weight and balance, and consistency. Combine that with the best warranty in the industry, and you have rods that are pro-driven.
Duckett Fishing, pro-driven.
I got my power pole down, stuck in the mud in the bottom of the lake, sitting so still in the wind and the waves, could even be a hurricane. I got my power pole down.
Meet AFCO's iCast award-winning Hydronaut waterproof system. Hydronaut features a 20K 100% waterproof shell, double dry cuffs to keep water out, speed vent hood engineered to prevent neck strain at high rates of speed, AFCO exclusive Cyclops tactical camera mount, Comfort Flex shoulder straps for all-day comfort, outerwear that you can count on. The Hydronaut waterproof system by AFCO. Any fish, any water.
All right, we are back on a Tuesday, ready to get things kicked off with our special guest today. Did you pound the pecans there, Matthew?
I did not have any pecans during the break.
Better save some of those. All right, very excited about our next guest, and
is this seriously? Have we had him on one time before?
I don't think so. I think Judasy and I had him on.
That is a travesty if this is the first time that we have had Larry Nixon on the show.
I do remember Judasy and I had him on back in the XM days. Mm-hmm. And that was a long, long time ago.
That was like 15 years ago, Mark.
Yeah, long time ago.
That was back when he was winning megabucks.
All right, let's bring him in. Larry, you there, man?
I'm here, guys.
Thank you so much for taking time out. I know this is a special time of the year for you doing all of your hunting, but greatly appreciate you taking time out to talk to us.
I'm glad we could get together, and yes, you are lucky because this is the time of year when if you'd have called me last week, I'd have said, nope, I'm going to Bonita deer hunting, and if you'd have called me next week, I'd have said, nope, I'm going to Kansas. So it's working out good.
All right, really nice. Matt and I were talking before the show, looking back at your career, and the first thing I want to talk about is let's go back to the memory bank and give us some insight on your classic win back in 1983. What do you remember from that, Larry?
Well, the biggest thing I remember is, it was a tough tournament on the Ohio River, and them fish were extremely hard to catch, and August, and they had been beat to death, and I mean, it was just one of them tournaments. You had to keep your head in it all day long, and you might get 5 or 6 or 7 bites, but boy, it was hard to get a bite. And, to pull that thing out right at the end I think I won by like a pound and 10 or 12 ounces over Ricky Green. It was just incredible, to be honest with you.
Do you remember what the crowds were like? What were the crowds like then?
We had a big crowd at Cincinnati. It was pretty awesome. I mean, even though it was on the Ohio River and fishing is bad, back in them days it was a huge growing point in the sport to have the classic in areas where they'd never seen us before, and it was a great show, really was.
Larry, you had to be the favorite going into that classic, didn't you, with the win the previous year on the Ohio River?
Oh yeah, everybody was, they was giving me all this hype, trying to get me psyched out where I'd mess up, but that was my style. I mean, I was right down my alley, just throwing a worm and pitching a worm and summertime fishing, and that was right down my alley. And fortunately, I picked an area that didn't get too many boats in it, and wound up getting to win that thing.
Okay, I've been covering this since 2008. Obviously, the age of the internet, Facebook, Instagram, podcasts, all sorts of stuff. You go back to the early 80s. What was the hype like then? I mean, was that like you would read about it in the magazine? Did the newspapers come out with it? Like, how was the hype leading up to a classic like that in like 1983?
It was strictly paper media. We had some radio, very little television. They'd try to get us spots on the local news at night, and but it was mostly regular outdoor riders, and in fact they were our observers in them tournaments back in them days. You had one in the boat with you every day, and he'd be back there doing nothing but writing down fish catches and what you was using and all that stuff. So it was it was a little different. I'm not going to say a little. It was a lot different. Nowadays, somebody's always got something stuck in your face, either a little old, a little old camera of some sort. And actually, to me, personally, at my age, as long as I've been in this business, when I get in that top 5, it's a nightmare having to deal with all that stuff.
Wow. I had two.
My puny little old brain wants to talk about it after I win, not while I'm winning.
After you get there, I want to circle back because you do have a 152-pound win on your resume in 1987 with the team tournament. But you segued into the media, the cameras in your face. And I talked about this last week when we booked you. So the last day of practice for the Cup on Lake Hamilton, the last day of pre-practice that you could be out there, I was out there shooting some stuff for FLW, and I was riding along with Kurt Dove, kind of doing a scenery photo and trying. And they said, get a photo of as many of these anglers practicing as you can. And I said, okay, but Kurt's going to be practicing, but if we pass someone, I'll get a picture of them. Follow? Well,
Yep.
We're there, and Kurt's that unwrapped Ranger. And I said, dude, there's Larry Nixon practicing. And he goes, you want to drive by him and get a photo for it? And I said, dude, I don't know. I said, I'm a little nervous. He goes, we'll drive by so you can get your photo done. And Kurt was just on his way to a different part of the lake. Well, he kind of slowed down and started to make an arc. You were offshore fishing somewhere. You looked over your shoulder and saw that camera. I didn't have a single shot where it didn't look like you weren't just shooting daggers through my eyes. You were saying, who is this guy slower? And I'm like, you probably didn't recognize Kurt. You obviously didn't recognize me. You're sitting there thinking someone's waypoint pirated you, and I'm just trying to get a damn photo for the FLW website.
Oh, that is so funny. But you know something? I've been a fishing guide or a tournament fisherman all my life. And one thing that stands out in my mind as much as anything else is somebody shutting down on the power while I'm fishing. Because I know that they're either coming by to see me or they're getting a mark on where I'm at or something of that nature. And I automatically going to wheel my head around and say, all right, now, who is this sucker?
Wow. All right. The other thing that I definitely wanted to discuss was the iconic shot, video, whatever you want to call it, of the intro to the old Bassmaster television series that appeared on TNN. The shot that where the camera was placed, where they had you and what was it, Matt? Like a 6 or a 7
I believe
pounder?
it was a 610, and when the thing jumps in the trolling motor, you got the pistol grip in your left hand, you just turn to the camera and smile.
Yeah. What can you tell us about that?
Incredible moment in bass fishing, guys.
What can you tell us about?
Walk us through it.
Yeah.
Well, it was one of them tournaments that I was doing really good. I qualified for the finals, and during the finals there, that we happened to go into an area that hadn't been fished, and it was the exact same pattern that I'd been fishing to make the cut. And it was just casting a worm at lily pad stalks, and I was actually still probably going to win that tournament without that fish, but when that fish bit and I set the hook and that rod did not move, I was like, oh my goodness, what have I done stabbed here? A root? And about that time, that big sucker come up and jumped and was facing right at the boat. It wasn't a normal jump. This is one of them look you in the eye and I'm fixing to whoop your butt jumps. And I just turned, and it was just automatic. It wasn't that I was talking to the camera. I was talking to the guy with me. Did you see the size of that bass? It was an incredible moment, guys. It really was. And, to land that fish, and at that moment, I said, you know what? I'm going to win this thing without having to worry about it now because I've got Big Mama in the box.
Wow. What about that pistol grip? We did a whole segment about using pistol grip rods.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about that thing?
Well, the main thing about pistol grips back in the day, everybody threw one-handed. You just did a little roll cast, and a pistol grip was just fine. But little did we know at that point in time that pistol grip didn't give you any leverage, and oh my goodness, it's hard on body parts. I wore out 2 hands, an elbow, and a shoulder, and the long handles didn't come along for probably another 8 years from that point. They got a little bit longer. We got 6 inchers, then we got about 7 incher, and then all of a sudden, they started making big long sticks. But the pistol grip to me, actually at very, very short range to get underneath stuff, a pistol grip's still a pretty good rod.
Do you know anybody that still uses them?
Nope. Most everybody now has just gone to a shorter handle, straight handle. I don't know whether it's more expensive to make or, but really there's not any point in it. If you've got a good straight handle and it don't get in your way, you're not all the time beating yourself on the belly with it. And, they get them so long nowadays, I don't like them. Them that go under your armpit, now, they ain't worth a hoot to me.
All right, I want to let everybody know on the instant feedback, we're going to get to your questions here just in a few minutes. A couple other things real quick, Larry. I'm curious, over the years on either trail, is there a story that you can tell us and the fans about something that is memorable, either funny or crazy or insane, that has taken place either with a co-angler or another competitor back in the day where you guys had to flip for boats? Is there anything that sticks in your mind?
Well, one of my most favorites is in that exact same tournament at Megabucks at the Harris chain, and I drew Jay Ellis. This was during the competition. And Jay was a flipper and a pitcher. He wasn't a long-range pitcher, and he also used 7-foot rods most of the time. And I had that little 5.5-foot rod, and I was pitching that thing back in them pads. And we went around this patch of pads at one of my favorite spots and never got a bite. And Jay says, well, where are we going now? And I said, well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn this boat around and go back around this same patch of pads. So I turned the boat around and went at it from a different angle, and that just gives you a whole lot of new targets. And I catch one about 3, and I catch one about 2.5. Then I pitch over in where I shouldn't have been pitching with 14-pound test trilene line. And what do I stick? A 10-10.
Wow.
And I pull this thing up to the top. You know, when I set the hook, I just kept heaving on him because he was so big. And when he took off, he cut the top out of darn near every lily pad in that patch. And, you know, we chased him around there for a while. I got him out in the open water, and, you know, the rest is history. Jay lifted him for me, and it was like, oh, my gosh, what a fish, you know. And that was one of the fish I caught there in the qualifying round. And, you know, Jay still talks about that to this day because I got so many more bites with that short rod than he did with a long rod. He says, you know, do you think I was moving that worm too far? Was I lifting it too far off the bottom? What's going on? They're just eating you alive, and I can't get a bite. And, you know, it's one of them things that you never could put a finger on. But, yes, I think it was the cadence and him not being used to, you know, just soft hopping a worm 3 or 4 inches off the bottom, letting it free fall back, and he was probably stroking it 2 foot and just didn't realize it.
Wow.
Basically, Harold Allen's the one who told me this. He said one time, he said, Matthew, he goes, we've been fishing a damn shaky head since the 1970s. We just didn't call it a shaky head.
That's a true story. I won a tournament on Sam Rayburn in 1979 or 1980 in the old U.S. Bass tournament on a jig head worm way before anybody ever called one a shaky head. You know, we just wormed it on there straight. We didn't have a clue on how to turn it around Texas rig thing. And we'd get it hung in the grass. We'd just kind of give it a little snap, and it'd pop free, and boy, them fish would jump all over that thing. But it's been around way longer than people realize.
All right, I want to go to the instant feedback. A number of fans have questions, and let's kick it off with Clinton in Kentucky. He wants to know, is the man's jelly worm still part of your arsenal?
No, it's not. You know, I don't even know that the man's jelly worm is still out there, to be honest with you. There's so many other worms that are similar to the old jelly worm. It's just a different. The old straight tail worm has pretty much took over my priority as far as you know, a worm that doesn't have a curl or a ribbon tail.
It is out there. I won a fantasy fishing prize pack, and they sent me a pack of 18-inch man's jelly worms.
Well, good deal.
Yeah, I'm headed to Beaver Lake tomorrow.
Let me tell you, still catch fish, believe me.
Wow. All right. Frank in Michigan, he wants to know, with all of the new organizations and all of the structure going on this year, how hard is it for both young anglers and veteran anglers to obtain sponsorship?
Well, you know, this goes back to the same old thing that I've done and heard since 1981 or 82. To obtain money-paying sponsors, you got to win tournaments. You're not just going to get, you're not going to just do good occasionally and get a sponsorship. Now, there's a lot of programs for the young kids in the high school and the college ranks that they can get equipment and they can get tackle and they can get jerseys and, you know, they can get lots of little things. But to really get a sponsor that's going to help with your entry fees and expenses and, you know, a lot of product and things like that, you got to be a winner. It's the same as it was when I started. You've got to be a winner. There's a lot of really good fishermen right now that are struggling with the expense part of bass fishing simply because they can't get them paying sponsors. And, you've got to make yourself visible to the public where they know you, and then be a winner where they can use you in their advertising. Now you're talking about getting somebody that'll pay all them entry fees and help you out with your fuel and your rooms and things like that. It's hard.
All right. A number of people want to know, have you made a decision on what you're going to do in 2020?
I knew that was coming. I knew it. I'm looking out my back door, and here comes a deer up the hill toward my house right now looking at
deflecting.
me. What are you doing?
Yeah. I mean, if you haven't made a decision, so be it.
I have not totally made that decision yet. I've got a number of reasons why. I've got a bad shoulder, and this sounds like a really good opportunity for me to just say, I'm going to look at this a while and go get my shoulder fixed. I've been putting it off for 15 years, and it's getting to the point where if it starts raining and I'm cold, I can't even get my rain gear on without somebody helping me get in it. And, that's tough. And I've had so many shots, and now they don't work no more. So I have not made a decision. I may not even show up next year till April.
Wow.
And just go fish a lot of coastas, and if they'll let me fish a few of the FLW events without kicking me out when I don't finish in the top 100, I might fish a few of them. So I'm going to just play it by ear right now. It's so late in the year to try to get everything reorganized. And to be blunt with you, I'm old enough that I haven't paid an entry fee in 100 years. And for me to go begging for entry fee money right now is really not something I look forward to.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many different formats have you competed under? I was thinking that, back with the Mega Bucks, and then did you fish any of those FLW cups that were like the bracket style? I mean, you had like 7-foot. Like, how many different formats have you competed under over the course of your career?
I fished every single one of them except the new MLF format.
So you fished a 15 bass tournament?
I fished every BASS for 25 years or 27 years, and then when I started fishing FLW, we was doubling up there, fishing both tours, and then when they started putting them on top of each other, I kind of went with my sponsors and stayed with the FLW tour. But every format, as far as eliminations and brackets and all that stuff, I qualified for every one of them.
Larry, when do you think the period was that this game was at the highest for all parties involved, the anglers, the fans, and the sponsors? What time period?
Oh, my, that's a tough question there. That's one of them that I really haven't thought nothing about because I love to just continue to see it growing, and it grows in such ways that some things are better. Here comes two more deer. Dadgum, you guys, quit that stuff. I live on top of a hill in deer paradise, guys.
Wow.
But I see things like the Lawrence, the live sight, the down scan, side scan. To me, that's a peak. And the new motors that they come out with to get such great fuel mileage, that's another peak. And tournament competition, when it really, to me, hit the big time was when FLW kind of got in their little war with BASS, and that's when the prize money started increasing. And I would have to say that time frame right there was probably the best because we still had so many people watching the TV shows and coming to the weigh-ins, and all of that is important, and that was really a high point in fishing right there.
All right, Sean wants to know, what rod do you use when you're throwing a worm?
I throw a 7-foot Dobbins. It's a 705 Champion, and it's a medium heavy, but it's got a lot of backbone below the third or fourth guide. It's for casting, it's about as good a rod as you can find.
All right, Austin in Alabama wants to know, is the worm still a player in 2019 and going on to 2020?
Big time.
Does it get forgotten about, Larry? Seriously.
I just soon not expose all that, but it has never gone away. It's hit low points, and every time it hits a low point, I love it because I'm out there whacking them with a worm. Lures are tools. That's all they are. And you use your tools based on conditions, time of day, time of year. But one thing that stands out, every time it gets calm, it gets sunny, it gets this or that, a worm is a player in the fishing world. And no, it's not going away. And it just gets – I love it when all the hype goes to moving baits because, the moving baits are fine and dandy, but they don't work every day like a worm does when it gets tough.
You talk about how using them as tools. Are you still adding new tools to your arsenal? I mean, are you out there Ned rigging and whopper ploppering and Alabama rigging in your fun time, or do you pretty much stick with the tools that got you there?
That's a really good question. I've had that Ned Rig hidden in my tackle box for about 8 years now, so you know that I have won a ton of money on a Ned Rig.
Really? So what did you call it before Ned, or did you actually know Ned?
I knew Ned. I knew Ned and his sidekicks. Now you know the rest of that story, but wow. It took a long time for the Ned to get exposed because it's such a teeny little toy, and there's still a lot of things about it that a lot of people don't they really haven't learned yet. But you could take a half a Cinco and put it on a lead head. Now you got a Ned Rig. I mean, there ain't no doubt about it. That's all it takes. But there's lots and lots of different styles of heads and ways to glue them on and make them stay on there where you can actually catch 7 or 8 or 10 fish without ever having to change a bait. And it's a learning process, but yes, I try to add every new tool to my arsenal that I can, and I use the ones mostly that fit my style of fishing. I'm not a swim baiter. You think I'm going to go out there and throw a swim bait for 10 hours hoping to get 5 big bites? Nope, ain't happening. That's not my style.
But you've been on the Ned Rig for 8 years, and you said you actually did you learn how to do that? Like, how does that come about?
Well, it came about through Ned himself and Stacy King. It was basically the first time I ever seen the thing, and I laughed at it to start with, and then when I realized how deadly it was, I decided I better keep my mouth shut and learn to enjoy it and just keep one on my rod at all times. And every time I go to a lake that's got all 3 species, largemouth, smallmouth, and Kentuckies, and boy, it is so good. It's just it's incredible how good it is. It just seems like if they see the thing sinking, they swim over and eat it. It's not like you got to do a lot with it. You just got to throw it in the vicinity of where one lives.
I like how Larry's given up all his secrets, and it involves a plastic worm and half a Cinco.
Yeah, you can delete this one after it's over.
Okay, yeah, we'll take care of that. All right, Dave wants to know what your favorite old school worm is and your favorite new era worm is.
Well, my favorite old school is still the gator tail. They're in short supply right now and kind of hard to find, but for a swimming worm, it has a different vibration. It has a lot of different things. I mean, you can cast it, swim it, and kill it, and let it fall, and it never stops flopping that big old tail. And that's still my old school favorite. My new school favorite, of course, is a Cinco. It's a straight stick worm. There's so many different kinds of Cincos out there, but I'm a Yamamoto guy. He's been one of my good sponsors for about 7 or 8 years now, and the Cinco itself is probably the deadliest big bass bait ever was, besides a jig.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
I really nobody can answer that question because it's such a do-nothing rig. But the way a Cinco sinks, if you remember back in the days when a fisherman took a floating minnow and he'd throw it, we didn't have a lot of lures back then, but you'd throw it out there and you'd get a little backlash, and you'd sit there and you'd pick that backlash out, and about the time you got it picked out, one would just come up there and clobber your minnow. You know, the longer it sat there, the more it pissed him off. And a Senko is the same thing. You rig it weightless. You can hook it in the middle, wacky style, or you can rig it Texas style, and you throw it out there, and I don't care if it's 10 foot deep. Drop slack, let that thing just free fall to the bottom. And as a true Yamamoto Senko is sinking, if you'll watch it in a swimming pool, both ends of it starts just vibrating. It starts real slow, and then it gets a little quicker, and as it sinks, that thing just sits there and shakes all the way to the bottom. And I think that it's that same reasoning behind that topwater bait. It sits there, and it's sinking, and it's sinking, and it don't go away, it don't move, and finally a bass just gets pissed and eats it. And that's why it's such a great big bass bait. It stays in the zone.
Larry, and I don't know if this is true or not, but hopefully you can tell me, was the Senko developed from a big pen?
You know, I have no idea. I really have never asked Gary that question as much as I'm around that band.
Yeah.
And how he come up with that reasoning. You know, it could go back to the days of the cream scoundrel. If you think about it, a cream scoundrel is hard as a brick. It was the ugliest worm in the water that we ever had, and probably caught more bass than any bait there ever was in the 70s and 80s. And a Senko is kind of like a cream scoundrel. It's straight. It don't have a whole lot of, it don't have any appendages. It's just a straight stick worm. And the way it sinks, a cream scoundrel sinks in a very erratic way. It doesn't just hop up off the bottom and go straight back down. It kind of goes whichever way it wants to go. And but a Senko does basically the same thing if you put a slip sinker or a jig head on it. But I don't know. It's just something about no action that's always triggered bass.
All right.
And then on the other hand, in the fall of the year, you want swimmers. You want something to have action.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a cycle that a fisherman has to learn to get really good with lure selections. And one day but all in all, a straight stick bait is out-caught more fish than any other type of plastic worm out there.
All right. Steve in Tennessee wants to know, would you ever consider competing in an MLF-style format?
If I could go back about 30 years, I'd be right in the middle of that stuff.
All right.
A man's got to have good hands to fish that MLF stuff. Now I'm going to tell you, you grab that many fish a day and grab that line. If Larry Nixon right now was to go fish an MLF tournament, I would set a world record for penalties. In other words, out of a 6-hour fishing day, I might get to fish about 4 because I'd be sitting on that deck all day long from dropping fish, touching their tails on the carpet, forgetting and throwing them over the side instead of gently letting them over the side. Believe me, I would set the world record, but I would love it. I when that thing was first announced, yes, I wanted in bad, and I could have got in, and then the more I thought about it, I thought, you know what, I can't do that. I really can't honestly do that. And, just go nonstop all day long just trying to catch the living crap out of fish and handle them and take care of all that work. My hands are not that good, boys.
Well, the trade-off is, they announced today where the FLW title is going to be, and the top 50 guys are competing in MLF-style format on the St. Lawrence River. So you get your 7 where you weigh it in, but then you just got to do it for the title in the last one.
Right.
So there you go. You got to fish it this year then and finish in the top 50.
I know it. I think I could do that. I made the cut last year. I think I wound up 27th in the FLW points, and I would love to do that this year. But if I get this shoulder fixed, and I'll know more about that Monday, then I probably won't be able to make that top 50 only fishing 4 or 6 events. That's almost impossible to do nowadays because of the caliber of fishermen that's out there, and there's so many youngsters that are they've realized what it takes to compete in tournament competition, and that's get your head in the game and don't take it out. You don't have time to deer hunt 3 or 4 months in the fall like I do. If you're going to fish for a living and be a winner, you got to do it 300 days a year. And that's how many days a year I fished for probably 25 or 30 years. I mean, I fished every tournament I could get in, plus guided on the side. And if I wasn't guiding, I was out there doing articles for somebody or testing lures for sponsors. And, that's just a lot of wear and tear. But that's how you get good.
All right, Dave wants to know, what's the best hook for a 5-inch Senko?
The very best hook for a 5-inch Senko is a 4/0 EWG Gamakatsu light wire. There is a new hook out there that I've been using a lot with a Senko, and it's the hybrid. That's a 4/0 round bend, and they call it a hybrid worm. And for Texas rigging, if I'm trying to use it in brush and stuff, that's the one I go to. Or Carolina rigging. But if I'm just normally throwing it Texas rig in open water, fishing it like, say, for smallmouth or Kentuckies or largemouth on the beds, and I'm not having to fish it around cover, I still go back to that EWG light wire because it's so easy to get the hook in them and they're not getting off of it.
All right. Great stuff there. All right. Frank in Michigan wants to know, why have you had so much success on Lake St. Clair?
I fished a lot in the early days up there with a fellow by the name of Greg Scott, and when he kind of showed me some of the areas where you found the fish up there, and one thing about it is it's all the same. That's what's aggravating about that place, and you just have to make long drifts and get mad and crank up and run over there a quarter of a mile, make you another big long drift, and eventually you'll catch a couple. But finding that area where the big wad is at, it just means you got to stay with it and not give up, and that's not in many fishermen's. They don't have the patience to do that, and boy, that's right down my alley. That's one thing Daddy taught me a long time ago was, son, you ain't gonna catch no fish if you ain't got patience. And it didn't bother me a bit to go out there and drift all over St. Clair, and I'd go somewhere where I see structure on my map, or back in the days when I was learning that place, it was strictly off of a lake map. And from that point on, then it was just a matter of drifting out off them extensions and finding the right water depth and the area where the bait was. And I actually spent a lot of time on that lake because I loved the smallmouth fish. And sometimes when we had a big tournament up there, I may go up there and spend the week just fun fishing. And I got to where it didn't bother me to go an hour or two without a bite because I knew, boy, if I ever got in the right little stretch, I was going to waylay them. And that's what gets most fishermen. It's so big. It's so vast, and they get flustered out there trying to find them because they don't let you look at them very much on a depth finder like a largemouth does. Smallmouth are spooky, and they tend to stay away from that boat if they can, if that water's clear, and it's definitely clear there. And so it was a matter of making long drifts and long casts, and a lot of times you even got to drag. Smallmouth they got a mind of their own. I mean, they like to just follow along stuff and look at it for a while before they eat it. And I just put a lot of them little things together and got pretty good on that body of water.
Based on some of the stuff you said, we talked a lot about the worms and slowing down and that. Do you think the days of that slow, methodical dauber, the guy who picks it up and just really saturates, do you think that those days and those anglers are kind of dying and becoming rarer and rarer as we see format changes and new lure changes and techniques and patterns emerge?
Well, there's no doubt that it's not the bait nowadays like it was back in the day, but there's lots and lots of fishermen that are glad other people are going that direction because the worm fishing itself will never go away. The times that it's so good now, we don't do it that much on rivers where fishing's tough. And, now we're going to all these big bass fisheries. And really, a worm doesn't come into play that much on big bass fisheries unless you get a certain type of day that they just won't bite your big crankbait or your big spoon. What I'm saying here is reaction-type baits. And, big fish on the Tennessee River and all these lakes that's pretty much all big fish factories, a big moving bait is hard to beat because big fish would rather just have one big old T-bone steak as go out there and peck around on 7 or 8 little teeny worms trying to get his belly full. And, I don't know if it'll ever come back to where worms are just as dominant as they ever were, but they'll never go away. There's still times on the Tennessee River, but you don't pick up a 10 or 11-inch worm on a football head or something like that, you don't catch no fish because they just won't hit that reaction bait. Maybe the current ain't moving, or it's like I said earlier, it all goes back to picking the right tool at the right time.
All right, Scott in Indiana wants to know if you have ever used any scent, and is scent important?
Yes, I've used scent. I don't think scent is one of them things that's going to keep you from catching fish. There's certain times when it may catch you more fish. If you're sitting on a spot that's got a big school of fish, I think, yes, it can be a trigger. But it's one of them things that do you waste time worrying about scent, or do you waste time about worrying about whether you're putting your bait in the right spot? Because most fish are sight feeders. I mean, they're sight feeders, and if you can trip their trigger, and by that I mean hit them in the head without them knowing it's coming, you're more likely to trip that little ambush instinct and make him eat. And every day is that way in bass fishing. There's periods that they eat, and everybody knows that they don't eat on Saturday and Sunday. So if you don't learn to be a flipper and a pitcher and make them react, then you're going to have a tough time on them days when they're not eating. And that's just the way fishing is.
Over the years, Larry, what do you think has had the biggest impact on this game, equipment-wise?
Oh, the biggest impact is definitely electronics.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nobody hates good electronics any more than this guy. I love them, but I hate them. There was a time when there wasn't nobody out there fishing offshore but me and David Fritz and Mark Davis and 3 or 4 other guys, Tommy Martin. And all of a sudden now you got a lake map in your face looking right at you. It shows you every bar, every ridge, every piece of stuff on the bottom. And you look over here and you say, oh, there's rocks down there too. And, like we didn't have all that. So that changed the whole world as far as offshore fishing. And to me, it's still the biggest impact in bass fishing is the electronics. And boy, I love them old paper maps. I mean, it'd take me all day to find 2 good spots, but I didn't have to worry about nobody else finding them.
You give a paper map to all those old school guys, and all they can do is triangulate, and all they've got is a flasher and a paper map. Who you putting your money on? Who you're putting your money on?
Put my money on David Fritz every time.
Yeah.
He was as good as he is at finding that offshore stuff, and he'd sit out there and drag that crankbait all day long looking for that stuff, and he'd make a lot more casts than me dragging my worm around on the bottom out there. But we were nip and tuck as far as whoever caught the most fish back in them days.
All right, Steve in Tennessee wants to know, when do you peg your Texas rig?
That's a good question. The best time to peg one is when you're trying to get it to go into any kind of cover, whether it's flipping, pitching, underwater brush piles. If you're having to deal with cover, grass, bushes, logs, always peg it. If you're just kind of throwing in scattered grass or, let's say a wormhole, you're just fishing the bottom and there ain't a whole lot of stuff down there, I still think a Texas rig unpegged will catch more bass than one pegged. in that kind of a situation. The reason for that is if you go to a swimming pool and look at your worm, you throw it out there unpegged and give it slack line, that sinker is going to run down that line about 8 inches ahead of that worm and hit the bottom. Well, when it does, that worm stops, and it starts that old slow sink, like I talked earlier about it. And you just get more bites doing that. And but through cover, you got to peg it.
All right, 2 more questions, and then we're going to let you go, Larry. I'm curious to know your thoughts on, have we reached a point where there should be 2, maybe 3, what I classify as senior events that actually showcase the icons of the game, and maybe some made for the internet or made for television events where veterans of this game actually can showcase their skills and compete against each other? Would you be in favor of that?
I would love it. The problem with it is every time they look at doing something like that, they try to do it when there's not any other tournaments going on, and there's just not room for it right now. The only time you'd be able to do it is in the late fall or dead of the winter, and then none of us old guys want to fish. We're tired. We want to go up.
Bill Dance looking like the kid from A Christmas Story in mid-January out there.
Yeah, and you know how much Bill Dance works. You wouldn't even get him out there. Period. He don't want us beating his eyes out.
Wow. All right. And then my second question is, if you could have anybody in the boat with you as a team partner, who would that be?
Who would be my number one bet for a team partner? I'm going to tell you what, I'd have to have me a leader. I'd want to be with Kevin or Kevin Van Dam, because I can fish behind Kevin Van Dam and catch lots of fish, and me and him would be badass in a team tournament.
I'd like to see that. That'd be pretty cool. All right, Larry.
I fished with Kevin twice, and it was pretty awesome. He'll fish his way, and I fish my way, and we both catch our fish and go the way in happy.
In a draw tournament when it was pro-on-pro draw?
Yeah, I drew him twice.
What years? I mean, do you remember, like, was he quote-unquote Kevin Van Dam at the time, or was he just the cocky kid who wore a vest and caught him occasionally?
He was pretty much still up and coming, but you knew that he was going to be a bad dude. That's, he wanted to be in control of the boat. And that was fine with me as long as he, left me water to fish, which he did. And I can't even. I don't know whether the first time he had won an event yet, or he was doing good. He might have won one, but it was before he won all the classics. I know that. Wow. It was way back there.
We got 3 minutes, Mark. I'm going with this. And we're talking Larry Nixon and Kevin Van Dam in a boat for tournaments. I'm going to go with this some more. So, like, you do that, do you flip for it? Was Kevin like, hey, I know you're Larry Nixon, but we're taking my boat? Or, like, how does he be like, hey, I want to go up front and fish fast, and you're like, yeah, I'll just throw a worm behind you? Like, how does that conversation go down?
Well, it went down pretty easy. I asked him real quick. I said, are you catching fish early in the morning? And he said, well, no, not really. It's kind of up in the day. And I said, well, good. I got a couple spots I want to fish this morning. And I really think we took my boat. We both had our boats pretty much rigged out the same at that time, so it wasn't a big deal. And that's always the two guys in the boat. They're always the ones that screw it up. If you work together, two guys can fish together and not have a problem. But we worked it out real quick. I fished my 2 places, and we took off and went and did what he wanted to do the rest of the day. And we both had good patterns. I'll never forget it. I had a couple places down on the lower lake, and I was throwing a Carolina rig, and there were some really good fish there early in the morning. And boy, I pull in on this first spot, and he jumps on the back of that boat, typical Kevin Van Dam, 90 mile an hour, grabbed that rod and went to wheel it out yonder, and that worm went around that light pole about 3 times, and he got a giant backlash. And I turned around and looked at it, and I said, Kevin, forget that. I got another one rigged up in the rod box. I said, just reach down there and grab that other one, and let's fish this and get gone. And we wound up catching a couple fish there apiece, and went to another spot and caught one or two apiece, and then we went the rest of the day and took off up the river and threw crankbaits all day long on shallow banks, and we both weighed in about 12 or 13 pounds and had us a good day.
Wow. What a great story.
That first cast was a booger, though. I'd give anything to have a camera at that point in time, but I did not get a shot of that.
Wow. Yeah, that would have been awesome. Wow, Larry. We've been on the phone almost close to an hour, and it has been joyous. We need to get you back on, and man, I wish you the best with the shoulder, and hopefully everything will work out with that, and hopefully you will be out there fishing once again in 2020.
I'll be doing my best, guys, and the buck never did come up the hill behind them does, so I'm all right.
All right, man. Larry, take care. And last question: are you going to be at the Bassmaster Classic?
I will be at the Bassmasters Classic.
All right, there you have it. We will.
I gotta go see my fans. I don't care if I'm in a shoulder harness. I'll be there.
All right, very nice. We will look you up there and talk to you then. So looking forward to seeing you. Best of luck to you, and happy holidays too, man.
Thank you, and same to you guys.
All right, take care, Larry.
See you. Bye.
All right, there you have it. Larry Nixon. Wow.
It doesn't get much better than that.
No. Some great stories, and the Kevin Van Dam story.
That's what I say. We typically
epic.
do, a recap that I put on Facebook that kind of highlights the show, and I think it's just going to be that Kevin Van Dam story. I mean, that's all you need.
Wow. That was a booger.
Forget that, Kevin. Here's another rod. You screwed that one up so bad. You just used the generals.
Yeah, somebody telling Kevin Van Dam, hey, just look down in that rod locker right there and grab one. All right.
Grab that other worm rod out of there. That one's a goner for the day. You're gonna have to put some new mono on that when you get back to the hotel.
Wow. So, wow, what a great show. Just one of my favorite guys of all time, man. He really is. And hopefully he gets his shoulder worked out. Did you pick up on I haven't paid to fish for whatever?
100 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get it. And here's the crazy thing. The
Jeez.
guy's in his 60s. He's got a shoulder that needs surgery. He's made the cup in 19, 17, 15, 13, 11, and 2010. And you go down to his AOY finishes, 30th, 57th, 19th, 42nd, 10th. Those are the last 5 years.
Yeah.
The guy has not finished below 60 in 150 to 180 boat field. He's made 3 cups out of the last 5 years. You're talking about finishes in the cups his last 4, 5th, 7th, 17th, and 22nd for a dude in his 60s with a bad shoulder in the middle of August.
Wow. I'm kind of speechless, man. I'm sorry. I would just like to take a camera and a microphone and sit in a room and just go, okay, Larry, start talking. Talk about anything you want to. And it would be epic.
That was some good stuff.
Yeah, you get 4 or 5 of those guys in there, and we'd be there for 2 weeks. Some great stories. All right, tomorrow we are going to have Mr. Jimmy Washam. And I hope I'm saying his name correctly.
There's all sorts of news that we haven't even gotten to. There's AOY payouts on bass. There's FLW, whatever they're calling it.
Big announcement today.
Championships, titles. They're not calling it the Cup. I can tell you that, Mark. It is not the FLW Cup.
No, that is gone. Gone Johnson. And then a special announcement. What, today at noon? Is that right?
Oh, Scott Martin's going to get on and announce something.
Yeah.
I'll say it right now. There's been 2 big-time pros with announcements. I'll call them out right now. Bobby Lane, Gerald Swindle, big announcements. If this is rain gear or a boating announcement, I'm going to be highly disappointed. Nothing against that. I mean, it is a big thing. Swindle was with Triton for frickin' ever. But I don't know what kind of rain gear Bobby Lane. I didn't know Bobby Lane wore rain gear. I thought he just
fished.
Was out in the elements.
Yeah.
He's the beast.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Well, big news today at noon? Is it noon Eastern or noon?
Let me pull it up. Let me see what it said.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Matt is looking at
He's got the
phone
blue
right here.
checkbook. There's a photo of Scott. He's pointing his finger at that with kind of like the ooh face. And he's got very nondescript Scott Martin challenge clothing on.
Yeah.
And underneath it says huge announcement tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern time on the YouTube channel. So 2 Central.
Today?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you to everyone for all the great comments and input over the last month for me and my family on helping us make this very hard decision.
Yeah.
Tag up your crew. See you there. Praying emoji. Hashtag Team SMC.
What do you think he's going to do?
I'm not even going to hypothesize. I'm not going to hypothesize, Mark. I'm going to let the man speak for himself with this huge announcement.
Okay.
We'll leave it at that. We'll talk about it tomorrow.
I think a lot of people out there are speculating what the man's going to do.
I was trying to look at, are there any specific brands or anything of trophies behind him in the picture? And then I was like, that's way too overboard, reading too much into it.
Yeah. We'll see.
Huge
what time?
announcement.
2 o'clock Central today on YouTube.
John Cox.
Cox?
He said, I'll be there. He's going to be watching, apparently.
Huh.
He's got to figure out what's he doing. Has anyone come out and said
both.
what he's doing?
He's
100%?
doing both. Yeah, I think so. I think he's doing both. Anyway, tomorrow, Jimmy Washam's going to be on. This is the guy that finished 3rd in the Central point standings.
Qualified for the FLW Pro Circuit. Before all this stuff, how did you determine who was fishing a tour? You stood there and saw who showed up at the boat ramp, and you're like, oh, Jim's fishing this year. How did people find out? It's not like they were doing live announcements. Where's Larry? I don't know. He
back in the 80s
told
and
the
90s?
Organization to get bent. He's done. He's back fishing bass champs in Texas this year.
That's why everybody wanted to go to the meeting.
He got pissed off over that live well check last tournament. Didn't show up.
It was at the meeting, man. That was a big thing.
He showed up at the meeting?
Is he here? Is he here?
Yeah, is
Billy?
John here? Billy at the meeting? No, I haven't seen him. You seen him? No.
Oh, is he going to fish this year?
I ain't seen his Winnebago at the campground.
Oh, jeez, man. Yeah, that's how they used to do it. Anyway, tomorrow, Jimmy Washam's going to talk about his life starting from the grassroots all the way up to him fishing the FLW circuit, and we'll see. We've had Larry Nixon on and Scott Canterbury, and neither one of them have title sponsors. Wow.
Well, Larry didn't say he didn't have a title sponsor. He just said he didn't want to pay entry fees.
Yeah, well, you can translate
one more
that
time.
any way you want.
What kind?
Creme brulee.
You're an all-star.
I'm getting there.
I like the vest today.
Do you ever order that when you go out? When you take the girlfriend to dinner, do you ever order that for dessert?
We have had that, yeah, before.
You like it?
Yeah, I got nothing against it.
They light it up for you?
I mean, we eat whatever she wants to eat. Let's be honest here. I have zero decision in it.
Yeah. So you probably share it.
If she wants creme brulee,
yeah,
we have creme brulee.
Yeah. I kind of feel sorry for Jimmy having to follow
Larry
icon.
Nixon.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he's got some great stories.
We'll see.
He'll be definitely interesting. Like I said, it's I believe the proper word there is a juxtaposition.
Yeah.
Between, you followed up Zell with an NPFL angler. Follow up Larry with the new FLW Pro Circuit angler.
Yeah.
And then we'll close the books on another week of BTL.
Yeah. Schedule's going to be a little different next week. Next week being Thanksgiving week.
Is next week Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
What day of the week?
It's always on a Thursday, my friend.
I won't be here on Thursday.
Thursday is Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
We don't do a show on Thanksgiving. We don't do shows on Thursday most of the week. So I wasn't planning on you being here.
We can't be bitter and angry next week. It's a Thanksgiving. It's a holiday weekend. I was planning on being
many things to be thankful for,
I was
my
planning
friend.
on being bitter and angry. I was going to be Jeffrey's 2013.
Jeez, man, it's like role reversal here. Jeez.
No, you still won't see me in a
vest,
cashmere sweater vest.
It's all good, man. Shaping the minds of today's youth. That's what I do. All right. Many, many thanks to Mr. Larry Nixon for being on the show. Many thanks to the fans on the instant feedback. I know I didn't get to every single one. Very difficult to do. Tried to get to as many as I could. Back tomorrow, same time. Don't forget, please review us, rate us on iTunes. We are on path to get to 1,000 reviews by the end of the year. And going to make me very happy. By the way, we had a little confusion on the... what was it, Shadbird? There's multiple Shadbirds out there, but I got it taken care of.
Okay, I'm glad you got that taken care of.
Got that taken care of.
Realized that was on my to-do list after the show.
I got it. Got it taken care of. All right, that's it, folks. We're out of here.